Welcome back to the cryptowrld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now Bitcoin is getting extremely close to breaking out above this important line of resistance in the short term. So I'll be talking about that in just a moment, alongside Solana, which is already now breaking out above this important area on the price chart, while the price of Chainlink is still currently playing out the shorter term bullish divergence. So I'll be talking about all of that and more later in the video, so definitely watch to the end. First of all, starting off on the 4-day Bitcoin price chart, and right now the super trend indicator is still currently sitting in the red on this time frame, so not much has changed over the last 1 day on this chart. And if we're taking a look at this weekly Bitcoin chart, obviously, at least for now, we're starting to decline in the amount of bearish momentum we're seeing in the histogram within the MACD indicator, which means we're moving towards a bullish crossover, but we're obviously not yet at that bullish crossover. And so, as I've explained in recent videos here on the channel, we're at a similar stage in the price of Bitcoin in the current cycle compared to what we saw in around August 2024, basically, at least based on this signal right here in the weekly Bitcoin MACD. Once again, we're looking very similar right now to what we saw back there. And if we're taking a look at this weekly Bitcoin chart, obviously right now we still have a major bearish divergence on the weekly time frame, telling us to not really expect any significant bullish momentum on the larger time frames. But of course, we can see short-term bullish moves, just not necessarily massive momentum on the larger time frames. So overall, on these larger time frames, not much has changed over the last 1 day. And something similar can be said about these other time frames right here, like for example this 3-day Bitcoin price chart. At least for now, the price of Bitcoin is still holding underneath this important area of resistance, sitting in between around 86,000 to 88,000. But if we can finally see a confirmed breakout with at least a candle close confirming above 88,000, then in that situation, the next major point of resistance I'll be watching is this previous level of support flipping into new resistance at approximately 92,000, and above that I'll be watching around 96 to 97,000 as more resistance. And as for support, we still have a lot of support at around 78,000 and also at close to 74,000. So once again, not a lot has changed over the last 1 day on this chart. And if we're taking a look at this daily Bitcoin price chart, at least for now, we're still in the breakout above this descending line of resistance, which at the point of the breakout, that was sitting at around 83,500, and right now it's sitting closer towards around 82,500. But obviously, even though we've seen a breakout above this descending line of resistance, once again we still have this area of resistance that the price is struggling at. And of course, in the shorter term, we're simply lacking momentum. Like I just said earlier, and I've been saying many times here on the channel, don't expect significant bullish momentum, at least not straight away, not right now. And so that's still the situation in regards to the momentum that we're seeing at the moment in the shorter term. And if we're taking a look at this daily Bitcoin price chart, technically speaking, we still have an active bullish divergence on the daily time frame, telling us we're most likely going to see either a slight bullish relief or a bit of choppy sideways price action in the shorter term as the most likely outcome. So that's what I continue to expect for the price of Bitcoin just in the short term here. And if we're zooming further into the short term, taking a look at the 4-hour Bitcoin price chart, we can clearly see that we have this strong descending line of resistance right here, where we've previously seen multiple confirmed rejections from, proving it as resistance. And right now, this line is currently sitting at around 85.3k. And so right around that level, at close to 85,500, expect a lot of short-term resistance. And then obviously just above that resistance, once again, we have a lot of resistance in between 86 to 88,000. So ideally, we need to see that breakout once again above 88,000 before we can finally start flipping much more bullish again, expecting a continued bullish move into the 90k area. But in the meantime, just in the imminent short term, obviously at the time of recording this video, the price of Bitcoin is getting very close to possibly seeing a breakout above this line. At least for now, we're basically around 1% away from potentially seeing a breakout above at least this descending line of resistance. And so this is definitely something to pay attention to. But obviously, while we've not yet confirmed the breakout as of recording this video, of course, there's still the potential that we see another rejection from this resistance. So as always, we need to wait for confirmation. For example, confirmed candle closes above the resistance to actually confirm the breakout. And we can use use some simple signals like this as potential trading opportunities, not financial advice, but let's just say if we're running into a major point of resistance where we've previously rejected multiple times from, and if we start rejecting from that resistance, that could possibly be a short-term signal to open a small short position, or maybe to take profits on long positions, for example. And then vice versa, obviously, once we actually confirm a breakout above this point of resistance, but ideally, once again, above 88,000, that could potentially be a signal to open a long position, or to add to long positions, or most definitely to close some short positions if you're in short positions. But as always, that is not personal financial advice because I don't know your personal financial situation. I'm just sharing potential examples of some trading opportunities, trading signals based on these technical indicators. And if you want to get set up ready to go to take the next trading opportunity in the price of Bitcoin or any other crypto, personally, I'm taking a lot of my crypto trades over on 2bit, so I'll make sure to leave a link to 2bit below this video in the description and in the pinned comment. And if you use that link, I'll take you to this page right here, which is a massive trading giveaway. Basically, there's up to $50,000 in trading rewards simply just by trading crypto using that link. But if you're not one of these larger traders here, you can still claim a $30 sign up bonus just by making an account using that link, and also a 20% deposit rebate up to a max of 200 USDT. So for example, if you deposit $1,000, you get a $200 bonus into your 2bit account. And on top of all of that, if you use the link below this video to 2bit, you're automatically upgraded to VIP level 1 trading fees, which basically means you get a massive discount on trading fees. You get lowered trading fees over on 2bit, but remember, only if you use that link. So if you're going to be trading crypto anyway, you might as well check this out. Once again, that first or second link below this video. And in case you're wondering, 2bit is a no KYC exchange, which means you can access it from basically any country in the world without needing any KYC. But as always, check your local regulations when it comes to trading crypto. And for whatever reason, if you don't want 2bit as an exchange, there's also BTNex as another option out there, another exchange that I also trade on. So I'll also make sure to leave a link to BTNex below this video. And if you use that link to BTNex, you can get an exclusive 10% discount on all trading fees forever. That is a massive lifetime discount on trading fees over on BTNex, but once again, only if you use that link. And on top of that, BTNex is also a no KYC exchange as well. But with that being said, taking a quick look at the Bitcoin liquidation heat map, and right now, and as I've said over the last couple of days, obviously we still have a lot of liquidity that's building just above the current price, mainly in between around 86,500 to 86.8k. So basically in the high 86k area, we have a lot of liquidity. In other words, a lot of short positions would likely get liquidated if we simply cross above that area on the price chart. And obviously over the last one day, the price of Bitcoin has basically been a stable coin. We've gone almost perfectly sideways here. And as I explained in my last video, usually that does not last for too long. Usually once we start seeing a lot of very boring price action, very basically sideways price action, usually that results in a major volatile move coming just around the corner. And essentially, the longer we stay sideways like this, the larger that next volatile move will likely be, because in the meantime, while we're just trading sideways, basically we're seeing declining volumes, for example, and a lot of liquidity actually building to both sides of the price. And so basically that can cause a potential explosion in the price of Bitcoin, really to either direction, but at least based on what we're seeing right now in this liquidation heat map, it is looking at least slightly more likely that we're going to see a bullish move compared to a bearish move, based on the fact that we have a lot of liquidity just above the current price. And usually, not always, but usually the price of Bitcoin tends to move towards where there's a lot of liquidity. But with that being said, taking a look at Ethereum on the weekly time frame, and I'll keep this very quick because right now and over the last one day, not a lot has changed for Ethereum. So we're still holding above this significant area of support, which in case you're new to the channel is sitting in between 1.4k to 1550. So as I've been saying, since much higher prices, we have significant support at roughly 1,500. So obviously that's still the support to pay attention to, but technically speaking, we're still within a larger bearish trend here on the weekly Ethereum price chart, also known as a bear market. So at least in the short term, for the next few days, maybe the next 1 or 2 weeks, once again, we're likely going to continue to find supports here, which means we can see a bit of a break in the short term from all of this bearish price action, but we're not necessarily out of the bear market, at least not yet. And so that is simply still the situation for Ethereum. And if we're taking a look at Solana on the weekly time frame, of course, Solana is already starting to see a break breakout above this important previous area of support, which temporarily was acting as resistance over the last 1 to 2 weeks here in the short term, and that was sitting in between around 120 to 130. But of course, we still technically need to confirm the breakout back above this level, back above 130, with a weekly candle close confirming above that level. And in case you're wondering, the next weekly candle close right here confirms in roughly around 2 days from now. And so we're still waiting for that confirmation here, but so far so good for the price of Solana with this potential breakout. And if we're taking a look at the daily time frame, obviously right now we're still actively playing out the bullish divergence exactly as I've been talking about over the last 1 to 2 weeks, basically since all the way back down here. And so as always, a bullish divergence most commonly plays out in the form of either a shorter term bullish relief or just a bit of choppy sideways price action as the most likely outcomes in the short term, usually for a couple of weeks, give or take, if we're talking about a bullish divergence on the daily time frame. So this is what I continue to expect for the price of Solana. And with that being said, if we're taking a quick look at XRP on the 3-day time frame, right now XRP is still playing out this significant bearish divergence, so not much has changed over the last 1 day on this larger time frame here. And if we're taking a look at the daily time frame, of course, technically speaking, XRP is still within this descending parallel channel, which is essentially a bearish trend forming lower highs and lower lows. But of course, during the bearish trend, during the descending parallel channel, we can see the occasional short-term bullish relief here and there. And so just over the last 1 to 2 weeks or so, of course, we saw a short-term bullish relief bouncing from the lower side of the parallel channel, which that support line at the time of the bounce was sitting at around $1.74 to $1.75, and right now that line of support is sitting closer towards around $1.70. And above that level of support, we could also find a lot of support around these lows right here, which is sitting at pretty much exactly $2. So expect short-term support at close to $2. And as for resistance, we are currently finding resistance along this center line right here, which is currently sitting at roughly around $2.11 to $2.13. And we also have this horizontal level or horizontal area of resistance sitting at approximately $2.17, give or take. And if we can finally see a confirmed breakout back above these points of resistance in the short term, in that situation, we could potentially see a bullish relief all the way up towards around $2.46 or potentially up towards around $2.55 as a major point of resistance. And so those are still the technical support and resistance levels that I'm paying attention to right now for the price of XRP. But remember, we should not necessarily expect significant bullish momentum right now, considering the fact that, of course, the larger bearish divergence is technically still active. But while the price of Bitcoin, for example, and the price of Solana, for example, are playing out these shorter term bullish divergences, of course, this can help the price of XRP just in the short term. Once again, during these bearish trends, we can see short term bullish reliefs. And so that is the situation for the price of XRP right now and what is most likely going to happen moving forward. And if we're taking a look at the price of Chainlink on the daily time frame, of course, technically speaking, we're still within the larger bearish trend forming lower highs and lower lows. But in the shorter term, we are currently playing out this bullish divergence, which at least for now is technically still active. And so like I've been saying over the last 1 to 2 weeks, we should be expecting just a short-term bullish relief or potentially a bit of choppy sideways price action as the most likely outcomes from a bullish divergence. So obviously so far this is continuing to play out pretty much perfectly, and we are currently running into short-term resistance at around $12.70 to $12.80, and that resistance really goes up towards closer towards around $13. But if we can finally see a confirmed breakout back above $13 and actually hold that as new support, then in that situation we could find a small amount of resistance at around $14.10. But above that, the next significant area of resistance to watch out for is sitting in between $14.90 to $15.50. And so that is still what I'm expecting here in the shorter term for the price of Chainlink, and of course the important support and resistance levels to watch out for. And as for short-term support, we will likely find short-term support at around $12, and below that we have significant support at around $10. And once again, if you want to trade any of these moves in the price of any crypto, check out those links below this video to those exchanges if you want to claim those massive bonuses that are only available using those links. And if you want to actually know how you can trade crypto. No matter if the price is bullish, bearish, or chopping around sideways, you can profit from all of that price action by watching these videos popping up right here on your screen. The video in the top left shows you how you can profit from bullish or bearish price action using long positions or short positions, and the video in the bottom left shows you how you can easily profit from choppy sideways price action. But anyway, that is everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.